Can I leave you with one final question if your time
Sure.
permits? There is a lot being spoken about the future of US-China relationship, and that has a huge implication for the rest of the world. Can you share your thoughts about how you look at this relationship going forward?
Well, the big issue is China has become a superpower in every dimension, economic, technological, military, obviously population, though it's number two to India. But essentially, that's fine. It means that the major powers, China, India, European Union, United States, should be cooperating with each other and finding a good modus vivendi. But in the American mentality, America needs to be number one. America needs to have dominance. So the U.S. foreign policy is based on a complete fantasy that the U.S. still runs the show or can run the show or can contain China. And so this is the root of the extreme tensions between the U.S. and China, basically U.S. resentment at China's success. And the U.S. is therefore trying to hinder China, trying to contain China, trying to slow China's rise, trying to organize military alliances against China. To my mind, this is all very dangerous and misguided. China is just having a return to economic success, and it should be applauded, not opposed. So I'm for a cooperative, multipolar, multilateral approach. India is going to be the same situation right now. India and the U.S., say that they are close in foreign policy, but when India gets too powerful and successful, the United States will turn against India too. So basically, we need to avoid what John Mearsheimer calls the tragedy of great power politics. And he says it's inevitable that there should be conflict among great powers because they fight for each other for survival. I say to him, John, we don't need tragedy, we need cooperation. So countries should cooperate with each other, stop the bullying. If the United States never again used the phrase rule-based international order, it would be too soon, because that just has become the code stock phrase for the U.S.-led order. We don't need a U.S.-led order. We need a multipolar, multilateral order, starting with the UN Charter. I'd like to see India join the UN Security Council as a permanent member. It obviously should be there. So we need some reforms of the UN system, but basically we need multilateralism, not great power showdowns. But the United States, for the moment, is still in a mentality of thinking it's the indispensable leader of the world, which is nonsense. It's just 4% of the world population. We've, by the way, gotten enough problems internally and domestically, politically, economically, and socially, that we have a lot of healing to do in the United States without trying to run the rest of the world.
Did you convince Professor Mearsheimer? Because he seems to be believing that the idea of US hegemony is something indispensable or the whole world will fall into chaos. What did he respond to you?
He doesn't say it quite that way. What he says is that it's inevitable that the US will seek hegemonic power, that that's the tragedy of great power politics, that great powers are inevitably led to seek either regional or even global hegemony. I say no. We don't agree on that. We're good friends. I admire him enormously, but we don't agree, because if you write a book called The Tragedy of Great Power Politics, my view is you have to solve the tragedy. You can't just leave it as a tragedy. We have to say, okay, that's the risk. What's the solution? John says, well, there is no solution. That's the reality. And I say, no, there is a solution. The solution is multilateralism and multipolarity.